The Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on Whcr 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the listening audience. This is Sean Shivers, and I'm back. Health in Harlem, WHCR 90.3 FM, New York, the voice of Harlem. And my guest tonight is Craig Brathwaite.
Craig Brathwaite, Director, Harlem Hospital, Ujima Garden.
Thank you. You just said it for me.
Thank you,
and we're talking about the Ujima Garden. That garden, that wonderful garden that I keep telling you about this on the rooftop of Harlem Hospital. Now, we have a caller. I told my caller to please hold off, and because she wanted to give me a shout-out, but I'm like, don't give me a shout-out over the phone. I want you to give me a shout-out over the air. Caller, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so what's your name again?
Barbara.
Hey, Barbara. Barbara from...
Shout-out.
Thank you.
I love the show. It's very informative. I have learned so much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
I also want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, and I wish you the same. And you know what I'm going to do is that I already have your info, but you've called a couple of times, but we never sent you that T-shirt, so I'm going to make sure you get a T-shirt.
Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you for calling again, and you have yourself a good night, all right?
Yes, and I'm going to stop by to see that garden also.
I want you to do that, and I know Craig wants you to do that as well.
Do you have a shovel?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Have a good one. Thank you. Okay. All right, Craig. So
Yes,
we're getting back. You know what? I'm going to write this down.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. So we're going to continue our conversation. I remember when I was growing up as a boy, my grandfather had a garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to know I had a hoe, I had the shovel, and that was our time.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be about at least 7 or 8. So, and I know that, especially in the summertime, that was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And we were out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
You're on the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what does it take to create, especially in this community where space to actually grow, to create a garden is very limited? What does it take to create a garden on a roof?
It's interesting, and I learned a lot about the process just by doing it, by taking the challenge that was offered, that is to develop a garden here at Harlem Hospital. And I started, Sean, I started on the ground floor like anyone else would. I was looking around the Harlem Hospital campus for a suitable space where we could maybe put some plant pods, bring some soil in. And because of the height of all the buildings on our campus, there really isn't any really usable space on the ground level that has continuous sun. You need at least 6 to 8 hours or more of continuous full beating sun to have an actual vegetable garden. So that's the first thing. Pick your location such that you get full sun for at least 6 to 8 hours. The longer the better, especially if you're growing fruit crops. You'll need long sun days. So there I was, stuck with the prospect of, wanting to do the garden and not realizing where I could do it. And I just sort of looked up for answers, as people do. I looked up for answers, and then it came to me, the roof. And I remember an article I read in the Times about one of the last unused resources in New York City is rooftop space. There's a lot of rooftop space. There's a lot of square footage of flat roofs in New York City that have become the new urban garden space. So it started with that idea. From that, I had to get permission, and I had to get some help because you have to actually bring soil from the ground up to the 8th floor, in our case, to the WP building 8th floor. So that was physical manual labor for about a day or two.
Good workout.
Good workout. I'm loving it. Believe me, I'm loving it. I had the same upbringing as you. I had parents that shuttled me out of the Bronx for the summer to go visit Grandpa in Eastern Long Island and be hoeing some rows and shucking some peas and picking some tomatoes. And not that I loved it at the time, but it really sunk in and it became part of me. And that is,
you learn to appreciate that as you
learn
get
to
older.
appreciate it. And I think most people will. I think it's in our genetic makeup that we'll harvest and we'll cultivate and we'll nurture the land. We're stewards of the land that we occupy. And I think that's a lot of us, come from some sort of indigenous or ethnic or cultural background where grandparents were doing this naturally. So this is not a foreign idea. Most people take to it right away. From the idea, I had to have some logistics. I had to have some source. I had to have some soil. And as I said, in the previous administration, one good thing that we got out of it is a lot of green efforts that came out of this. Even here at City College, there was the solar decathlon you had a couple years ago where I believe some students that were participating as architectural students built a solar sustainable negative energy utilization building here in one of the buildings. So in the city of New York, there's the project Green Thumbs. You can look up greenthumbnyc.com or is it .org?
Okay.
And they'll show you where in the city, where in your neighborhood there are green spaces. If you participate as a community member, you have access to the free composted soil that the city produces. All those leaves, all those twigs, all those trees that are downed, they're put into piles, and the natural process of decomposition happens. The worms and the terraformers turn that material back into humus, which is the rich base of a good soil.
Now, and I could be wrong though, but didn't the mayor put some type of project in place that they wanted to create rooftop gardens or greenery on top of all of the skyscrapers and all top of the high risers?
I think that was my idea.
Was it your idea?
Yeah, I think I call it every rooftop green. So no, perhaps others have had that vision as well. But the mayor did have that idea. In fact, changed some of the zoning ordinances.
Correct.
There's a zone green that allows for rooftop greenhouses to extend above the surface of a roof up to 25 feet.
So basically, I believe it's just to purify the air, clean the air.
It has so many benefits.
And it makes sense. It does make a whole lot of sense.
The plants are the lungs of our planet. So the whole rainforest or any plant material takes in the CO2. We know that's the bad gas that creates the greenhouse situation that we're living with and breathes out oxygen. CO2 in, water in, carbohydrates and oxygen out. That's the basic substrate of all nutrition and all food on our planet. So now you take that basic concept that nature already has designed, that we've replaced the ground floor with all that concrete, and all you do is you raise it up to the roof because that's where the sun is and that's where the rain is. And there's your other benefit. All the rain that falls on the city has to fall somewhere. It falls from the roof to where? Your gutters. From the gutters to where? Your sewer system. What happens when your sewer system gets overwhelmed? Well, does anybody remember Superstorm Sandy last year? So greenhouse, green garden, green spaces on roofs are an aquifer that can house millions and millions of gallons of rainwater that would otherwise get into your runoff in your sewer system. Rooftop gardens are proven as insulators. So you can actually reduce some of the heating and cooling costs of a building if you had that insulation of a green space. Rooftop gardens are tranquil, peaceful places. They're therapeutic spaces, actually. And most importantly, from my point of view, they grow food. And we eat to live.
So I'm curious to know, you're holding all that dirt up to the roof. How many feet deep how high does the dirt have to be in order to, accommodate the roots and stuff?
Well, obviously, the deeper the better. I'm using a specific growing system called an earth box. So it's an intensive growing system that has a 2 by 1 foot, 1.5 foot deep plastic box. This box has a false bottom, which actually houses or holds 10 liters of water. Then there's a screen on top of that, and then your soil goes on top of that. So the roots are actually pulling up moisture and oxygen and carbon dioxide through the water and the root system. It's a very efficient method of growing. I have 40 of those boxes, 45 of those boxes on the roof. So about 90 square feet. And from that, I've made, I'm going to estimate, and maybe I'm bragging a little bit, but about 150 or 200 pounds of produce last year.
Excellent. And I'm not being funny or anything, but how'd you learn how to do all of this? Did you Google this, or how did you learn how to do all of this?
Well, I accept that humans have this in their blood, and maybe I just channeled my my humanity. But yeah, I had, I developed a love from, my upbringing, the introduction to gardening from my grandparents, and then in my adulthood, I've enjoyed having a garden in my own home, and certainly like eating sustainable, local, organic, and relatively inexpensive. I mean, it costs about a penny to grow a whole head of lettuce, and you can feed a lot of families with $1 worth of lettuce that has grown into.
So I'm just curious to know. Let's just say that there is somebody out there who actually wants to, wants to grow a garden. It doesn't have to be on the roof. Let's just say they have, in front of they have a piece of small land or something on, on their property, whatever. Where could they go or to actually start that process? Would they just Google how to create a garden, or
Google is amazing. All of the planter and pot gardening advice that they give you.
YouTube, I guess, too.
You can YouTube it. You can make your own plant pots. I happen to buy a commercial one. I'm not trying to pitch one in particular. You can actually get a Tupperware tub, the kind that you use in college to put all your clothes and stuff in with the big top, and just prepare it in such a way that you can put a false bottom in it. And then you get your soil purchase it from Home Depot. Not to promote one or another, but get a good quality soil. I of course prefer organic soil, so if I can use some composted material. I have my own proprietary mix. Starbucks is happy to give you their used coffee grinds.
Get out of it. Seriously? That's a word for Starbucks. I never heard of that.
They will give it to you because guess what? They have to pay to cart it away. If you take their coffee grinds that have been used, add that to your soil mix, that adds a nitrogen to your soil.
So basically you're saying that an individual can just go walk right into Starbucks and say, "Can I have some of your old coffee grinds so I can start a garden," and they'll give it to you?
That's the community aspect, developing community. So I go to the Starbucks on 125th in Harlem, and I've talked to the the baristas in there.
Yeah, the barista.
And I told them I was interested in the coffee grinds. They're like, "Yes. How many days a week you want to come?" They'll give me a 2-gallon bag of used coffee grinds, and I'll pile them up and add them to my compost pile. And guess what? The worms love them. You can imagine the energy they get from eating just the coffee grinds, but as a nitrogen. And then I add like a coconut fiber mix also to it for moisture retention. So I have my own sort of proprietary blend, and you can experiment with different types of soil. Anyone can. And, keeping it organic would keep it that much healthier. But if you are so inclined and want to use or have to use, you could use, commercial fertilizer as well.
Cool. That's heavy.
Yeah.
I just learned something again. You're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. We are going to take another break, but once again, if you want to hit us off with any questions, comments, concerns, just dial 212-650-6903. That's 212-650-6903. We're going to take a break right now. Don't leave us. Stay there. We will be right back.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews, and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sean Shivers, and you're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York, the voice of Harlem. Tonight we have Craig Braithwaite. He's a physician assistant at Harlem Hospital Center, adult ER chief, and we're talking about the Ujima Garden.
Harlem Hospital Ujima Garden. Rooftop garden.
He said it right. My apologies. Hold on one second, everybody. Caller, you are on the air. Can you hear me? Caller? Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Caller? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good.
Hello,
I had a question for Craig.
Sure,
Hey, how
no
you
problem. I kept saying hello. Everybody in the community is hearing me say hello. But what's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Sam Silva. I'm
Sam.
actually a student of Craig's.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I was fortunate enough to see the garden.
Excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
Yes.
So your comment, your question, it's all you.
I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me.
Yes,
Yes, we
hear
can hear you very
hear
well.
Sam.
Oh, you can?
Yes, we can, Sam. You're on the air right now. Everybody hears you in Harlem.
Okay.
Okay.
So my question is,
What's that question?
Sam Silva.
Sam, yeah, I remember you, Sam. You gave me some good manual labor when I was putting that garden together. Helped me move the soil around, helped me plant those pots. Yeah, Sam is one of my physician assistant students right here out of City College, as a matter of fact.
So Sam, what's your question?
My question is, what was the process to actually getting permission to build the garden on the roof? Was it easy to talk to administration and get things going so that you guys could build the garden up there?
Excellent question, Sam. No, it's never easy talking to administration.
Seriously?
But it didn't take a lot of cajoling because I think there was a lot of hospital-based support for it. And I came up with a proposal about using, space in a conservative and a safe way. Right now, the garden space is not an open space, so it's not actually open to the public. I have, special access and can bring helpers up there. But yes, I did have to go through administration and explain the process, what I'd be doing, what I'd be bringing, giving them some idea what sort of impact it would have on the garden, which I believe I have a negative impact. I've reduced some of the solar effect on the roof and served as an aquifer to the soil. And moreover, I've provided, nutrition for the patients at Harlem Hospital. So, yeah, you always start off with going to the leadership and presenting your case. And, of course, you have to explain how this will benefit the community and the hospital as well. So that was a process that was accomplished. And from that point, I'm in my second year of growing. So I would say I still have their support. Hint, hint, hopefully I do, as I appeal for the next rooftop, which will be the K building. I need 4,000 square feet.
Oh, I think you said $4,000.
Wow.
Well, no, I got some grant money. So
Excellent,
I'm
excellent.
trying to be sustainable.
The money is there if you know how to apply for it.
And it doesn't need to be a lot of money because once you have the basic ingredients, a garden, as you would think, grows itself.
Excellent.
Great.
Well, sir, I thank you for calling, and make sure you stay tuned and, hear Craig talk, all right?
All right. Thanks for having me.
Hey,
Thank
see
you.
you around, Sam.
Have a good one. Okay. Okay, so let's continue our conversation.
Sure.
Well, the question I have for you right now is that I know that we are a city hospital. I know that I'm going to assume that you cannot grow stuff on the roof and sell it back to the community. So is there anything in place, I don't know, as far as growing things on the roof, and how do you giving it back to the community? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know they have their farmers market out there, right, that they actually like you can get those points. Can you grow items on the roof, bring it down, and say, okay, we're only going to accept points? So, I mean, how would that work?
Well, I'd like to be able to answer that question, and I believe in the next generation, if I'm able to, provide the evolution of the garden to the point where I'm actually a CSA, which is a community-supported agriculture, meaning I'd have enough produce to be able to bring to market on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. I would like to pose that question to our administration and make sure I have all of the, mm-hmm. the legal ramifications that would be mm-hmm. involved. So currently, no, it's not a for-profit garden. I don't make money. I've spent
of course,
money.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's a hobby of mine so far, and I've gotten some support from the hospital. But so far, we've had venues to be able to offer the produce mm-hmm. to patients with no cost. And when those venues expand, when we get that stir-in-the-pot mm-hmm. kitchen, and they can actually cook and use that as demonstration projects and work with your department, Department of Nutrition also, to show patients maybe the difference mm-hmm. and the benefit mm-hmm. of having actually locally grown, fresh. And when I emphasize organic, that means I don't use any pesticides, I don't use any bug killers, I don't use any artificial fertilizers. Mm-hmm. Everything that I'm using mm-hmm. is in its natural state.
So that brings us to our topic about superfoods. Mm-hmm. And I did a little research. Now it says a superfood is a whole food. It's organically grown. It's raw. It's easily digestible. Now, when I hear superfood, I don't know why I think of. You ever see those chickens that are huge, or you see those. You ever see a tomato, and a tomato's like the size of a pumpkin, and you were like, okay, and I wonder. I know that can't be organic. How much pesticides in there? But mm-hmm. hearing the definition of a superfood kind of changed my whole perspective. Mm-hmm. So can you elaborate a little bit more on what a superfood is?
Everything you said, and they tend to be foods nearer the source of production, the foods that are not refined, and foods that have, in addition to what you say, some extra added health benefit. So, in the earlier, history of our understanding of nutrition, we thought there were three basic nutrients. There's protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And then we realized that people, even on high protein or carbohydrate diets, were suffering from diseases like scurvy. Sailors crossing the ocean were getting these mm-hmm. diseases. So then we advanced in this vitamin era of our understanding that, there was something more to our diet that kept us healthy. And then later on, maybe in the 60s and 70s, we're into the micro minerals, and all these little micronutrients that are involved. And now currently we're really looking at the antioxidants. These are the foods, and many of them in that category, as you would say, superfoods that have components in them that are antioxidizing, anti-aging. They're free radical scavenging, meaning their job is to pick up waste products and things that are in our dietary chain of what we take in and kind of reduce their risk to us. Mm-hmm. So if you look at superfoods, they tend to be very colorful foods. And I always, when patients ask or people ask, what should I eat? I always say eat the rainbow.
Yes, we always say that too.
Eat the rainbow.
Rich in color, the bright one, the bright colored foods.
Rainbow colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Mm-hmm. So if you eat a food from every one of that colorful spectrum, you're going to be getting different antioxidants, different superfood components. We're looking at things like lycopene. We're looking at things like the essential fatty acids and found in some sea foods as well. Like the chlorella and the spirulina and the algae. These are things that now seem to have some extra added benefit, not just as dietary components, not as just calories, but things that actually help promote health and may even fight bad diseases like cancer. Certainly help with the known diseases like cardiovascular disease, prevention of diabetes by preventing obesity itself as a disease. So superfood would be anything taken in its near natural state, maybe with very little processing. I always recommend seared green vegetables or light sauteing in a light temperature oil, lightly blanched, olive oil that doesn't heat up too much.
Put you on the cooking network. You been throwing this fish cuisine, all these terms, these culinary terms.
I don't only grow it. I can burn a pot too.
Yeah. Actually, and since you're talking about that, the thought process, every now and then, my staff and I, we sit and we brainstorm of what can we do to enhance the patient experience? What can we do to enhance the community experience at Harlem Hospital as it pertains to food and nutrition? And, when they started that farmer's market, I see all these freshly grown just produce, and I was like, how can we do our part? So what we propose to do, or the proposal is going to go out to Ms. Suarez, if you're listening, but is that what we want to do is we want to set up a table and we want to show individuals how to create those fresh vegetables into an entree. And actually what we plan to do is set up shop outside, and we're actually going to cut, dice, prepare, saute a little olive oil, whatever, and how to make a healthy meal. We might have some chicken breasts out there and saute some chicken, but actually that's what we plan to do next year. We want to actually set up shop and the community can kind of watch us create healthy, low-cost dishes with the items that are out there being sold. So that's something that we plan to do next year.
Sounds like an excellent project. I know community if you want to get people together, get people to listen to your message,
correct.
Feed them.
Feed
them.
That's true. That's a true story. You're listening to Health in Harlem on Whcr 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. We're going to take our last and final break, but please make sure you hit me off, say hello, say what's up. Questions or comments from my boy Craig right here at 212-650-6903. That's 212-650-6903. Again, we're going to take our last break. Don't go nowhere. Stay there, tune in, and we'll be right back.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
According to recent statistics from the New York City Coalition Against Hunger, an average of 1.5 million New York City residents, in which 1 of 4 are children, live in households facing food insecurity. The coalition's latest annual survey indicates that local New York City's emergency food providers, such as food pantries, soup kitchens, and brown bag programs, reported a 20.8% increase in need for their services due to the city's recent recession. The Harlem Hospital Center Department of Food and Nutrition Services wants to help curb these alarming statistics this holiday season by conducting its annual food drive. From Monday, November 11th through Tuesday, December 24th, there will be donation receptacles located throughout Harlem Hospital Center. All donations will be shared with the Harlem Mothers Save, Stop Another Violent End. If you have questions, feel free to contact Mr. Sean Shivers at 212-939-1936 or Chanel Rogers at 212-939-1935.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
Said I'm black, tougher than rock.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sean Shivers, and I am your host tonight. My boy Mo was not here. My boy Mo is actually down at downstate right now doing a double residency. One of our future doctors doing his thing. But our guest today is Craig Brathwaite.
Good evening, all.
He is a physician assistant, adult ER chief, and we're talking about that magnificent garden on the top of Harlem Hospital.
Indeed.
So, Craig, can we was talking earlier about the WIC program, and you're possibly want to be affiliated with that. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
WIC is the Women, Infants, and Children's Program. I know a little bit about that because way back when, I actually had a job working at Albert Einstein and a comprehensive family care center, working with women, infant, and children programs. It was being started. This was way back in, I guess, the early 80s. No, maybe even the late 70s. So it's a consortium, or it's an ally that I would love to have, because I think it combines family effort, cultivating children's interest in health and wellness and their energy. Mm-hmm. I had such a kick working with kids this summer at the Thurgood Marshall School, so having that sort of the ability to have that connection would really rejuvenate and enliven even more so the garden. Right now, it's still in that demonstration phase. Yes. So for volunteers to be involved, they really have to work with me closely and participate at key times, of the garden's development, like when I'm bringing up more soil or turning over soil. On a day-to-day basis, it's not quite ready, but it could be. If I got what I would like to get, if I got my ultimate dream garden, which is right there at Harlem, I think we could develop it into a safe, open community space.
Got you. So, Craig, we have a caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How you doing? And, ma'am, what is your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Bing Xiao. Mm-hmm. I just happened to hear on the radio, and I used to be a student of Craig Brathwaite.
Wow, all my students. Wow.
Hey,
that makes me feel good.
Got you. So, so what's your question? What's your question? You have a question for Craig?
I actually have a comment to say.
Sure.
I had the pleasure of visiting your Juma Garden, and I just wanted to say that you're doing an amazing work for the community, and it's such a great idea for New York City in general, for any city that has rooftop access for garden space.
Hey,
well put. Thank you very much for remembering. Yeah, I guess you could say during the rotation, students have certain mandatory duties. So I actually bring them up to the garden and use some of their, not only their brain power, but some of their physical power too. So I appreciate your contribution, Ms. Xiao, and I'm sure you'll do great and magnificent things once you're all done with your education.
Thank you for calling, Ms. Xiao. I appreciate it. Okay. I love this. I love being part of, even though I'm not on that, even though I'm not up on the roof yet, I feel like I'm a part of the experience.
Oh, you'd love it.
You know what I'm saying?
Sundown, sun up. Oh, it's great. The city's roofs are magnificent places because you get that big vista of the city. We can see Empire State Building to the south. We can see City College to the west. We got Yankee Stadium going straight due north, you know. So you have a great view of the whole panorama of the city.
Excellent. And you were talking earlier about volunteering. If somebody did want to volunteer, or if somebody wanted to see this garden, what should they do?
I think that one of the best ways to contact me would be through a website that I've developed, so I can give the website. The website is Craig's Ujima Garden, so that would be my name, CraigSUjimaGarden .Weebly, that's just, I guess, a website.
Gotcha.
.com. So it's Craig's Ujima Garden Weebly.com. And there you can see the whole history and the whole chronology of the garden as it developed over the last year. And there's a contact page. So if you come to the website, if you want to visit the garden, at least even a virtual visit, sign in on the web space and just send me some information about where I can reach you or what you're interested in doing. I'll try my best to, accommodate people that are truly interested in seeing it.
And then to my understanding, if you go directly on the WHCR, so if you type in www.whcr.org, our website will pop up, and I believe that there is a small little site that shows Craig.
You linked me?
Yes, I believe
you linked me.
I believe so.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I believe so. So you can also connect to Craig's webpage as well. So Craig, we still have a few more. Minutes left. Is to summarize, because you gave a lot of information. You gave some great information. Can you summarize just answer this question as far as why do you believe that it's necessary that, especially in this community, especially in the city, that everybody try to start this style or this type of gardening?
Well, I call it the gospel of the greens. We're always looking for a spiritual, physical outlet to our energies, something productive, something useful, something participatory, something that connects us to where we're living. There's a lot of maybe a sense of disenfranchisement living in a city. Everything is brick and concrete and steel, and we're living in separate cells and compartments. And if you generate open space where people and the elements meet, you meet sun, you meet rain, you meet wind, you meet wildlife. Would you believe over the garden at Harlem Hospital, there roosts and hunts a falcon and a hawk? There's wildlife. And would you believe I actually rescued a hummingbird? As it was a hummingbird in New York City. You wouldn't believe it. I know, no one believes it. But hummingbirds actually migrate.
Isn't that the bird of New York State? The hummingbird? No.
No.
Okay,
These birds usually roost someplace in South America, but they may spend their summers up north. So a hummingbird happened to fly into some structure at the hospital and was knocked out. And
trying to find refuge.
One of the electricians, his name is Anthony Bonasignori. He found this bird, he put it in a box, and he was just waiting for someone who could help him. And I just happened to walk by, knowing a little bit about bird rescue, because I rescued a bird once. And so this just goes to show the energy that a garden brings. It brings human energy, it brings natural energy, the wildlife, the bees and, things that you'll see up there. So the summary is that, a therapeutic space is a space that makes you feel good, makes you feel part of something bigger and better than you, something that you give to and that gives back to you. And I wouldn't say there's anything that represents that mutual give and that mutual benefit than actually having a garden. You see the benefit of your work. You see the production of your sweat, directly. And it doesn't take long. I mean, within 30 or 40 days, I was already starting to harvest my first set of greens. So, as I said, last year I probably had about 150 or 200 pounds of eggplant, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, basil was my favorite herb, mint, chives. I had long beans, string beans, tomatoes, peppers, hot peppers, beets, things like that. I'm still harvesting now.
Yeah. So tell me real quick. So actually, because we're in winter season right now, what is actually on the roof right now?
Right now to harvest are the cruciferous vegetables. That would be all those cold weather crop super green foods like the kale, the mustard green, the collard green, some lettuce. I've got fenugreek up there that does well at this point as well. Some root crops. I've got beets, So these are things that are actually still growing and viable, and they've survived a little bit of frost. In fact, they prefer a little frost. And I think I'll be harvesting till, maybe approaching Christmas.
Hey. Craig, I wanna thank you for coming on to the show. I want to thank you for bearing with me because, even though I'm doing my little DJ thing right here, I'm trying to do my thing over here, making sure that everyone hears us clearly, making sure, things are in place. And I want to thank you for helping me make the show flow. You know what I'm saying? I want to give a shout out to my boy Mo, who's down at Kings County Downstate Medical right now, doing his thing,
saving lives. Okay.
Hey,
Dr. Shelby.
You know. I also want to give a shout out to my girl Valerie Wright. We love you. We thank you for bringing guests like Craig on this show so that we can educate the community. Next week, because of the holiday, we are not going to be on the air, but we're going to be back in December with some great guests. Dr. Culpepper Morgan, that's my girl. She's going to be on the show. Actually, she's going to be on the show in the second week of December. I know it's National AIDS Day, and our topic next week is going to be the AIDS Initiative. I'm about to get my guest soon, but make sure you tune in so that you can learn more about how this disease, HIV and AIDS, is really affecting our community. So make sure you tune in. And this show is dedicated in the memory of Miss Gloria Thomas. Harlem, definitely, I want you to take care of yourself. Have a good night.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
From hanging, and your days shall be long.
fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League of the World. As you are aware, the world in which we live today is divided into separate race groups and distinct nationalities. Each race and each nationality is endeavoring to work out its own destiny to the exclusion of other races and other nationalities. We hear the cry of England for the Englishman, of France for the Frenchman, of Germany for the German, of Ireland for the Irish, of Palestine for the Jew, of Japan for the Japanese, of China for the Chinese. We of the Universal Negro Improvement Association are raising the cry of Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. The great problem of the Negro for the last 500 years has been that of disunity. No one or no organization ever succeeded in uniting the Negro race.
Enslave us was done for 300 years, the bodies of men. You can shackle the hands of men, you can shackle the feet of men, you can imprison the bodies of men, but you cannot shackle or imprison the minds of men. Chant them down, chant them down. Words from Marcus Messiah Garvey. Words, sound and power. They do not know what we are capable of. They do not know what they're thinking. They're thinking in terms of dreadnoughts, muscle ships, aeroplanes, submarines. You know what we're thinking about? That is our own private business. Chant them down. Chant them down. Words from Marcus Messiah Garvey. Words, sound and power. Black men of Carthage, black men of Ethiopia, of Timbuktu, of Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt. Thus classes, nations, races have been quite for over 4 centuries, who was merely born of use, insult, humiliation, whose forbearance can only be compared to the prophet Job, as likewise lifted his bowed head and raised it up to God's skies and cried out, I am a man, and demand a man's chance and a man's treatment in this world. But I shall teach the black man to see beauty in his own kind and stop bleaching his skin and otherwise looking like what he's not. African freedom, African freedom. Chant them down, chant them down. God made man Lord of his creation, gave him possession and ownership of the world. And you have been so darn lazy that you have allowed the other fellow to run away with the whole world, and now he's bluffing you and telling you that the world belongs to him and that you have no part in it. I don't have to apologize to anybody for being black, because God Almighty knew exactly what he was doing when he made me black. If black people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves. Yes, you heard of Johnny Walker Red and black. Well, he had his adversities, but he's still going strong. Well, I intend with your help and God's grace to continue, because my work has only just begun. And future generations shall have in their hands the guide by which they shall know the sins of the 20th century. I know, and I know you too believe in time, but we shall wait patiently for 200 years if need be to face our enemies through our posterity. When my enemies are satisfied, in life I shall come back, or in death even to serve you as I served before. In life I shall be the same, in death I shall be a terror to the foe. Chant them down, physical or spiritual to see the day of Africa's glory. When I am dead, wrap the mantle of the red, the black and the green around me, for in the new life I shall rise up first with God's wisdom talking, to lead the millions of the heights and the triumph that you well know. Look for me in a world when there's a storm, look for me all around you, for with God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa, to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
African freedom, African freedom and liberty. Chant them down, chant them down. Yahweh, Yahweh, Messiah, Yahweh. Chant them down, 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 down.
Our great scholars having passed through the colleges, the universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have better die.
Teach them, Gavi, teach them. Want them, Gavi, want them. Tell them, Gavi, tell them. Chant them down, chant them down. Gavi, Marcos, Gavi. Chant them down, chant them down. Gavi.
Can we do it? We can do it. We shall do it.
African must do it. African must do it. African got to do it. Chant them down. Chant them down. Gabe, Marcus, Mosiah, great prophet from Jamaica to Africa. Chant them down.
We'll be fighting. It's not against yellow, red, or whiteys. Our physical, natural enemies. Asexual orientation, the religious affiliation, the prolonging, poised with promiscuity, or one's gender is not a concern. As
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Revoluting for a cause, just because that all Babylon cause. We're bonding for revolution. Born to a bloody revolution.
the revolution will not focus on landlords against land leases, lessors, management or union heads against the unrepresented workers, or an upsurgous gang or clan attacks. No, not the haves against the have-nots. The unemployable, the undereducated, malnourished, unwanted, against whom a system plotted. No, survival will take place. Not mothers against daughters, nor sons against the entire family. First, second, or third, the class system won't come up, but a revolution is a must. The boundaries based on the remnants of religious, geopolitical, or educational compliance crumble to the stroke of store-bought whiteouts as insignificant.
We're breaking down the party, facing off to that which divides we, from the Roman Saxons to the Arab doctrines to the Catholic capitals. None can stop we
No marching in the streets. Placards, bandanas, slogans, or ideologies draw no attention to a generation's wants, needs, or gap. A revolution without planned bloodshed or the onslaught known as black on black. No propaganda to trivialize the agenda, as the media broadcasts won't know what's up, while this revolution will take place deliberately in all major cities, small villages, and one-man towns. The revolution to free the black man's mind is a must, as the black mind for hundreds of years has been in a captive state, in stagnant negativity, in a mental debt, committing genocidal suicide. The mind needs to be rescued, yet the smallest towns, freedom resulting from bloodshed, the action of insurrection, the bloodiness of a revolt for liberation is a must.
Well, this is a speech to all Jamaicans and the rest of the world, especially for those who have been victimized of their own civil rights and have been badly brutalized by just saying the right thing. I'm now presenting myself to you as a victim of this system of organized crime, which have been supported by a committed set of people whose conscience is piercing wicked, who have lost the feelings of mankind, who have always remained shamed. They use us as target. They're licensed to kill and committed legal crime with promises of protection by their so-called constitution, which is the climax of inhuman. because they have been strongly supported by their ministers, judge, lieutenants, commissioners, lawyers, who have spent years studying how to defend, preserve, and disguise their guilty activity of injustice. They talk about force, Jamaica Defense Force, Jamaica Constabulary Force, which is force of ignorance, pure ignorance. When we speak the truth about our living experience of injustice, they use force to quiet you. They drill to kill to live, because they don't know how to live. Then they sing Jamaica land we love. Forget about the people. So now you know that we realize we don't need your protection. You're too inquisitive in our life. We have heart of flesh. We don't need mental lead nor copper to protect us. What we need is not what you have to offer. Our need comes from God. So now we demand your subtraction from our life. Surely we can make it without you. You and your dirty way of living, who at present cause our children to be suffering the inconvenience of today's transportation disaster. So the educational background can remain inferior, dark and illiterate. Then we become their target. We graduate from school straight into the prison. Prison which we now demand to be diminished. Then we would know who's the real criminal. Yes, away with the prison. Then we would know who's the real criminal.
It's complex, it's very complex. It's complex, it's very complex. Why is it complex? It's just complex. I'm under the pretext upon I was cast the hex. Defects, I write and recite texts. Am I blessed or cursed? Wait, before you say yeah, only I must say first. It matters not what you say. I'm gonna say what I have to say. If you think I'm arrogant, I'm sorry if it seems that way. I can explain why it does, but it will take all day. It's complex. It's very complex. Why is it complex? It's just complex. Take a life of conflict and strife into context. The effects from being on one's toes. Moles the type who readily goes wherever, whenever a good wind blows. One seldom knows where one may be next. The context of a life of conflict and strife. It's complex. It's very complex. It's complex. It's very complex. Religion or a complex division. Check the effects they have on man. Divide man into fractions like seas divide the land. And when they mix up with conflicts between Anglicans, Catholics, Evangelists, Baptists and whatever I missed, you can add to this however you choose. Muslims, Jews, upper and lower caste, Hindus. Under politics, add race and class to the mix. of Republicans, Democrats, Socialists, Communists, and big business too. Can you tell who is who? Or is it too complex? It's complex. It's very complex. It's complex. It's very complex. Love is my solution because I understand it's complex. So I hold my rage, vex it on the page, otherwise I never get vexed. Vexed at this stage, at my age, please. God is love, and God provide the trees that set my mind at ease so I can flex my mental capabilities. And in times like these, where so many Africa are still dying from disease, war, starvation, I hear a nation crying. There's no denying, I feel it, so I must reveal it, even though it's very, very, very complex. It's very complex. Complex. It's very complex. It's complex. It's very complex. Why is it complex? It's just complex. I'm under the pretext upon I was cast the hex. The effects.
blood run like the purity, yeah. To save one and to save all. That's how I want to see the blood flow. Give praises. No more bloodshedding. No more warfare. No more fighting against each other. Give love and unity to each and every other, yeah. Love and unity, respect to all, you know.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
If you know the symptoms and get the facts, you'll know the signs of a heart attack. Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if it sounds familiar, call 911.
Pain in your neck, chest,
arms, or jaw,
shortness of breath.
Please tell us more. Cold sweats and nausea, tiredness.
It's time to take it
serious. Back pain, stomach pain, shortness of breath. Cold sweats, nausea, dizziness. If you know the symptoms and heed the signs, you'll be around for a long, long time. Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if any sound familiar, call 911.
Learn a song that could save your life. Get a free download at womenshealth.gov/heart attack.
Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if any sound familiar, call 911. If any sound familiar, call 911.
A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
911.
Hey, Dad, how do you throw a curveball? How do you build a fort? How do refrigerators run? How do fish learn how to swim?
Kids ask a lot of questions.
How high can you jump?
But you don't have to know every answer.
How many phone numbers are there?
Because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent.
How do cell phones work?
There are thousands of children in foster care who don't need every question answered.
What's electricity?
They just need you.
What's the moon made of?
For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT of New York City, provides assistance in preparing and recovering from emergencies. CERT assists first responders and provides staffing for city shelters in response to disasters and extreme weather conditions. City College is one of the many locations for hurricane evacuation. CERT team members are local and live amongst the community, so they are always there for the people. CERT members will speak to any organization about emergency planning for the elderly, children, and the disabled. They offer workshops in creating go bags, emergency communication, and evacuation plans, and shelter-in-place kits. To learn how to prepare for emergencies, call South Harlem CERT at 917-406-6661.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We rope it up,
cause we know how to jump.
we roll it out,
Cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
Cause we know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day. That's We Can, a message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
The odds of becoming a signed artist and having 3 #1 albums? 1 in 100 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of this performer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Sister Virginia Cotton, and I'll take you to that place every Tuesday morning from 6 to 10 in the a.m. on the Gospel Legends program. We'll lift the Savior and take a trip down memory lane. How far back will I go? Tune in on Tuesday morning, WHCR 90.3 FM from 6 to 10 in the a.m. And don't forget the website. That's the 3Ws.WHCR.org. I'm so excited.
For a twist on a seasonal classic, the Apollo Theater presents Duke Ellington's Nutcracker Suite and Sacred Music in the show Ellington at Christmas, featuring Savion Glover, Keith David, Liz Wright, Priscilla Baskerville, the David Berger Jazz Orchestra, the Abyssinian Baptist Church Choir, and students from the Dance Theater of Harlem. That's Ellington at Christmas, Saturday, December 7th at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, visit www.apollotheater.org. According to recent statistics from the New York City Coalition Against Hunger, an average of 1.5 million New York City residents, in which 1 of 4 are children, live in households facing food insecurity. The coalition's latest annual survey indicates that local New York City's emergency food providers, such as food pantries, soup kitchens, and brown bag programs, reported a 20.8% increase in need for their services due to the city's recent recession. The Harlem Hospital Center Department of Food and Nutrition Services wants to help curb these alarming statistics this holiday season by conducting its annual food drive. From Monday, November 11th through Tuesday, December 24th, there will be donation receptacles located throughout Harlem Hospital Center. All donations will be shared with the Harlem Mothers Save, Stop Another Violent End. If you have questions, feel free to contact Mr. Sean Shivers at